What's going on, y'all? It's Rev, and welcome back to another Dauntless video. It's been a long, story quest. This Dire Warnings quest has taken us quite a bit, but we're drawing to a close. I'm planning to close it out, hopefully, here in the next couple of hunts in this episode. So we're gonna dive right into Tail Gnasher. I'm gonna do that right now, and we're gonna do both of these with the chain blades. I know I said I was going to do it with various weapons, but I don't want to. I want to get further along in the story, and then we can do the odds and ends of upgrading all the different weapons. So we'll do strikers and all that stuff. We still have a lot of story to go, so we'll take the time in the next set of story quests to upgrade our stuff. So let's go into neutral, go Tail Gnasher private hunt, and let's get started. Alrighty, we've arrived, and let's talk a little bit about Tail before we engage. And Gnasher is the first behemoth you fight in the tutorial, right? And this is kind of the first time we see it go supercharged. And Gnasher is a little bit of a hurdle for new players because it creates shockwaves on a lot of its attacks. It's also very quick. It has like 360 tail swings and stuff of that nature. But the big thing is the tail slam, which creates shockwaves, as well as all the stomps and all that stuff. But I'm gonna show you kind of how to nullify those things, as well as other little tips and tricks. But for the most part, Gnasher's moveset is still the same. It just gets augmented a little bit by these shockwaves, and that's the big killer. So let's get into it. The first thing I'm gonna do is focus legs, and then if we can, we'll get the face, because I need face for weapons, and we might need even like the tail or something. So as a fun fact, when you cut Gnasher's tail, it starts moving a lot faster, almost like it's always enraged. But it can't do its tail slams anymore. The tail has the most part HP out of any other part on the Gnasher, so it's pretty much unwise unless you need it for breaks. There's the interrupt, by the way. Chain blades have a really easy time with that interrupt. I'm gonna switch over to the face because I want it that KO. I'm gonna actually greed for that KO if I can. Okay, so it's enraging. I'm getting out of dodge. I can just outrange it all. Now, if I was in range, those shockwaves would be seeking me out. The ones on its left side can only hit on the left, and the ones on the right can only hit on the right, or seek me out on the right. But right now, I'm just kind of beating on the legs, trying to rack up stagger damage so I can get it KO'd. This is the tail slam attack, and I mean, it's just a good idea. So this attack, I want the tail slams to keep going. I'm gonna try and keep them going just to show. All right, so if I move in a circle, you can see that Gnasher kind of just seeks me out. It's aiming for me, right? It picks one person. The way that move works is it picks one person, and it's just gonna keep slamming the ground and keep trying to hit them. Now, there's a lot of collateral damage in party play with this if you keep moving around. And so if you're the person, the thing to do with that attack is to assess who is being targeted and stay away from them, because you can still deal damage when that attack is coming out if your team is relatively intelligent. They'll be able to sneak in some cheeky hits, but for the most part, you don't need to. Just don't die, right? Like, just don't die. You get the bonus loot, and they'll just be better off. The idea would be, if you are the one that is targeted, just move straight back and don't move, right? Get outrange the stomps or outrange the slams, move backwards, and so it's very predictable for everybody where the danger zone is. And so I'll demonstrate that if it does that attack again. Got another break there. I might just start focusing the tail, and it might trigger the tail slams a little bit more frequently. Okay, here we go. So if I'm the person being targeted, there was a rock in the way, so I couldn't go straight back, but Just pick a location, outrange it, and then go for it. So I'd do something like this. That's just me. You can outrange. You can actually roll underneath the tail when that attack's coming out, but that's gonna hit me. I'm out of stamina. That's fine. But you can see how it's just moving backwards and trying to hit me. But if I had 3 other people at the front of it, they might be able to sneak in some damage. So it's just kind of like an etiquette thing, I guess. I really don't want to get sent to the other island if it like backs up or something. Nice, got a break, stopped it from running. Gonna get that KO. I'm just gonna keep drilling it. I should be going for the tail here, but it's too late. Like the moveset is not very vast on the Gnasher, but it's those shockwaves that are gonna mess you up. So bring your bulwarks. You know, monitor your health and make sure that Gnasher isn't getting a lot of collateral damage on your team. That's gonna be the big I guess variant that is going to, or variance that's gonna cause you from wiping or, you know, dying a lot. It's kind of at the mercy of how much people know about, you know, the tail slams, because it's not random. You know, it picks someone. But that person, if they're just like dodging around in a circle, then you just have shockwaves flying all over the place, and you know your other teammates are trying to get in extra damage. And so that does it with Rage Tail. Pretty straightforward fight. It's just, you know, outlasting the damage and not dying, as well as knowing the parts that you need to go for, because tails are going to be a thing. I'm going to need tails in the future, but for the most part, it's a pretty straightforward fight. Moonreaver is up next, and we'll just dive right into that, and then we'll get into upgrading the armor. We might need to do a couple neutral patrols to get additional orbs, but I'll just talk a little bit more about upgrading gear and where we're going to be going in the future if that is the case. But let's cut over to Moonreaver Shrike. Now, we fought a bit of Moonreaver's variants before, right? Like we fought Scrave and we fought the Shrike. And the Moonreaver is very, very similar. It still has all the same moves from its previous versions, but it's much faster, it's bigger, and a little bit more random. It's more mobile, I should say. This move is also a variant. It does a double slam now, but as long as you're going underneath the legs when it jumps up into the air, you'll be just fine. Now, when it does that scream, it has a chance to do its interruptible attack, which is another reason why Chain Blades is really good here. This is a very interrupt heavy fight, and Chain Blades can do it without getting hit. Very consistently, I should say. Going underneath. Notice that the double slam just doesn't really go for me. That move gets really annoying. I call it the chicken wing. The best way to avoid it is to just, you know, roll sideways, but sometimes you just get caught off guard by it. It is very fast, and it's probably the move that will hit you the most. Got that KO very early. And the idea is to try and just get a part break or something, and hopefully just chain it into something. You see I got a KO, then a part break, and keeping Shrike very, very still, because it does move around a lot. It enrages, and then it starts swooping, which is another interrupt opportunity. Managed to get that. Got very lucky. I didn't think I was going to. But yeah, overpower is active a lot here when fighting Shrike. So if you have any overpower, bring it with you. Just using the chain blades to really drill into all the different parts that I haven't gotten or broken. Still following our same strategy. See if it does the interrupt. Yep. Didn't get it that time, but I didn't get hit due to my iframe on my dodge. See, it's very fast, and like if I commit, it happens so suddenly that I'm gonna get hit, which is fine. Just you know, it's not gonna be using that attack, you know, multiple times in a row, so you can mitigate a lot of it. But the main thing for Moonreaver is getting those interrupts. Hammer's really good for it. You know, Hammer and Chainblades are going to be kind of the interrupt heavy fights. You know, the kings of those fights because of its ability to interrupt easily and safely. You can roll through those projectiles pretty simply. But the mobility of the Chainblades allow you to really keep up with Moonreaver, utilizing Reaper's Dance and the ability to dash while rolling is a great way to stay and keep up the pace with the fight, but also being able to interrupt. So I highly recommend Chainblades for this fight. But if you're using axe or something, that's totally fine. You just gotta try and get those interrupts, and you can do it with multiple ways, as long as and you can do it flawlessly. And if you're a little bit further along, the axe actually has a really easy way to interrupt as well in Grim Onslaught, which is a special. So the enrage, that means the swoops are coming out again. But for the most part, we've seen all of these attacks before. We know how to interrupt. And we know how to break parts. We are prepared for this fight. It's kind of more of the same. It just has more HP, a little bit more powerful. Not much more to really talk in terms of strategy. What I am looking forward to is getting concussive grenades, because that means everybody will be able to interrupt at that point. And so I don't really know when that quest is going, is live on the quest line. Sorry, I'm focusing on dodging, and because these attacks do come out really fast. They do come out really fast, and Moonreaver is not as slow as the Shrike variants, as the base Shrikes. Moonreaver is a speedy boy. But yeah, concussive grenades help greatly with interrupts. And you can carry, I think, like 3 or 4 of them at once you're max mastery, and so it makes those interrupts on the swoops very, very simple. You just throw a grenade at it, hit it, and boom, interrupt. Not too bad. Moonreaver's pretty unnotable when it comes to like gear and armor, but also very simple if you can keep getting those breaks and the interrupts. It's another, can you interrupt? If yes, you win. So that's I believe that this is the last behemoth that we need to finish. And the last thing that we need to do for Dire Warnings is complete Bring on the Night, which is crafting a Riftstalker weapon. We've killed Riftstalker a few times on this account due to technical difficulties, but let's take a look at what we can craft. Maybe we'll do the Riftstalker Aether Strikers if we can, because those are A, very good, but also B, we haven't played a lot of Aether Strikes, and we can, so that's great. So I needed to take a moment to cut the video just because I ran into a bug that really messed me up. The Stalker's Scorn, or the Riftstalker Aether Strikers, don't count towards Bring on the Night, and I did not know that. There was no real way for me to know that, but instead I took the time to craft a little bit of extra Riftstalker stuff, or to beat up Riftstalker, and I crafted the sword so I could complete Bring on the Night. And so it's really at this point where I just take the time to talk, because upgrading your gear to the 350 mark is a little confusing. And this is probably the most common, like, hey, I'm stuck part of Dauntless that I have ever seen. And I don't know why it's done this way, but it is. So at this point in time, at this point in the video of the playthrough, this is where you choose which armor set you want to take all the way to +7. I opted to go for the Drask stuff just because Drask armor is highly customizable. It has good sockets for the most part, so we'll actually run over to the armor smith and talk about it. But You can do any hodgepodge of +7 as long as you have access to the dire version of that behemoth. So you can do Skarn, you can do Boreas, you can do Riftstalker, you can do Valamir, you can do Charog, Drask. We don't have access to Embermane. We can do Gnasher. We can do... I'm not sure if you can do Pangar yet. Shrike, and I think that's it. So a lot of these are doable. If it were up to me, in a perfect world, I would go with all Gnasher gear. If you're comfortable with fighting the Tail Gnasher, get your Tail gear set up. I opted to go for Drask because I just like the sockets. You know, the helm and the chests are good. The boots aren't super useful. Like, you could upgrade your Tail boots. I just didn't have the gear or the parts to upgrade it quickly, and so I wanted to get it done as quickly as possible. This is where you choose, right? So there's your armor, and as far as weapons go, I highly recommend upgrading a Boreas weapon, which is what we're going to do right now. We're going to upgrade our sword to hopefully +7. Nice, we have enough. So we have enough, and we've upgraded our Onus of Boreas to whatever power it is, 380. Great. And we're done. We're done with dire warnings. That clears it all up. Hopefully, I mean, don't make the mistake that I made and craft the Riftstalker Aether Strikers. That is really annoying. I submitted the that as a bug on the Dauntless partner Discord and let them know about it, and give them a little bit of feedback about this quest line, because upgrading it was actually really irritating, because me losing all of that Arkstone for upgrading the Aether Strikers meant I had to go farm some more. And so take the time, take your newfound knowledge and what you've discovered in this point in time, farm out the rest of the gear, get it all to 350, and we'll see you in the next video. Dire Warnings is complete. We're gonna go ahead and turn that in. We do get a Gold Slayer core, which is great. We'll have to open cores in the next set of videos. I apologize for episode 13 and 14 being like a little bit more scrambled together, but I encountered technical difficulties in 13 and 14, and 14 I encountered a bug, so I mean, hopefully it's understandable. Gathering Storms is next up. We have Thorn Warning, which is Koshai. This is the first time we'll see a brand new behemoth named Koshai, my personal favorite behemoth. Upgrade and equip a weapon to 380 power or more, and upgrade and equip armor with 380 or more, which I believe we've already done. So in Dire Warnings, it wants you to actually just get to +6, but I've upgraded my stuff to +7, so hopefully that's not too much of a struggle. Anyway, that's going to do it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll get started on the... Oh, we have an escalation. Let's see. What is it called? Gathering Storms. We'll get started on Gathering Storms in the next video. If you like this video, please leave a like. If you want to support the channel, you can subscribe to the channel or use creator code RevvyRad in the Dauntless in-game store. I stream. That'll be in the description. And yeah, thank you guys again so much for watching, and I will see you on the Shattered Isles.